Hi everybody. My voice might be a bit different today because I've got a bit of a chest cold, so I may not be speaking as loud as I normally do and my voice might sound very un-Jess-like, so if you're wondering why my voice is the way it is and why my mannerisms may not be as energetic as they normally are, it's because I'm not feeling very well. I was sent this palette kindly by Sedona Lace to review. It's the 120 Pro Palette 2nd edition. I've never had a Sedona Lace palette before, so this is my first Sedona Lace product. This is my 100% honest review, so I just want you to bear that in mind because I know a lot of people on YouTube these days will be all like, she got sent that palette so she's just going to talk shit. No, that is not the case. This is my 100% honest review. So I really hope you enjoy this review because I haven't done a review in a while, and let's get started. I got sent this palette in this box. As you can tell, my dirty fingers have been all over it. I've tried to keep it in the box ever since I got sent it, but you know, this has resulted in me making the box very dirty. So this came packaged in a very big box with, you know, like bubble wrap, and you've got no chance whatsoever of this palette getting damaged when it's sent to you if you do choose to buy it, because they package it so well that I think if a dinosaur, like, you know, came in the mail and stood on all your mail, your palette would still probably be okay. Okay, maybe not if a dinosaur stood on it, but you get what I mean. They packaged it really, really well. The bubble wrap and everything, it was really secure. And it's like, if anything, it was too secure, so you don't have to worry about, you know, getting cracked eyeshadows and things like that. On the back of this as well, you've got your ingredients, which I really like because I find with a lot of makeup these days, it's like you don't even get the ingredients on it, and I find it's always really nice to know what you're actually putting on your face. So here's the ingredients on the back, and then here it states that it's the 2nd edition. God, I'm so happy to actually put this box to the side now. I'm gonna throw this box away! I just wanted to show you guys, you know, the box it came in. Here we have the Sedona Lace palette itself. I really like this logo, I think it's really pretty, and again, you can see that I've been using it a lot because you've got all my dirty foundation hands all over it. It's not that I'm dirty, it's that, you know, if you're in a rush and you're reaching for your eyeshadow, you don't really care, do you? You don't like hand sanitize constantly. That's how you can tell I've been using this palette. And here we have, you know, the little red thing. And if we open it up, completely just almost jammed my hand. This is the first set of colours. And I'll zoom in here. As you can see, you've got a really, really awesome range of shimmers and mattes. Underneath, we've got all of these colours. You can tell which colours I've been using as well. I've been playing with this palette for literally a month now. So for the meantime, while I speak about this palette, I'm going to put the palette down, because if I hold the palette throughout the whole review, it's just like, hey, I'm holding a palette. Isn't this awkward? And I'll end up putting my face in the palette, so I'm just going to set this to the side for now. I've compiled a little list of my thoughts because I thought that that would be better, you know, to go through rather than just, you know, ramble on and then forget something and yada yada. I really wanted this video to be quite clear and precise, so if you're not a viewer of my channel and you don't listen to my ramblings, you can genuinely, you know, hear what I have to say about this particular palette instead of me rambling on. Before I go on to my list of my likes and my dislikes, I thought that I would show you some of my favourite colours that came in this palette. This is with Too Faced Shadow Insurance underneath. Neon pink is one of the brightest colours in the palette. Here we have this beautiful shimmery purple. This one is like a shimmery dark turquoise, which is another one of my favourites. And then this is another one of my favourites, which is a bright fluorescent neon orange, which is absolutely beautiful. And bear in mind, I've literally dotted my finger on the palette. I haven't like got a crap load of the product and shoved it on my hand. The reason that these ones are so big is because I dotted a little tiny bit of them on my hand and I dotted too much on my hand. So that's why you've got such a big swatch here. Now, this is a goldy bronze colour. This is definitely one of my favourites in the palette. I literally dotted my finger on it and the product just spread so much. It's incredibly creamy, and this yellow one here is one of my favourite yellows ever. I think that this yellow is probably going to be my favourite yellow in the whole entire world now because it's so pigmented. I sometimes find it quite hard to come across a decent shimmery yellow, and this one is absolutely perfect. Another one of my favourite colours here. This one is a matte purple. Even from the distance you can still see them. The only colour you can't see is the neon green. Even again, it's like, if you pick up a lot of it, the payoff is still pretty good. And the pigment in this palette is equally comparable to higher end brands such as MAC and Urban Decay. I think this palette is great value for money, and I mean severely awesome, amazing, great value for money, because you're getting 120 colours, okay, and they're all incredibly pigmented. I've not found a colour in this palette that I don't like. Just think this overall palette is actually amazing. I think it's great for beginners and for experts, because if you're a makeup artist, this would be really cool to put in your kit, because the colours are so great and you've got such a variety. And I think it's also good for beginners as well, people that don't want to go and purchase a lot of singular eyeshadows. It's great to have a palette like this that you can, you know, experiment with, and you don't have to worry that you've wasted a lot of money on, you know, really expensive eyeshadows or single eyeshadows. When you've got this much of a choice, experimentation is awesome. Like, I've had so much fun with this palette. I think the biggest palette that I actually own at the moment, other than this one, is about 80 colours. So I've never had an 120 palette before, and I looked at it and I was spoiled for choice. I've been experimenting with this palette for quite a few weeks now, so I'll insert a few pictures here of some of the looks that I came up with. Did this with this palette as well. I used the golds and the yellows. I was also messing around the other day with my friend Chelsea, and she was full on in love with this palette, and she kept saying, hey, if you don't want it, I'll have it. And I'm like, hey, this is my Sedona lace palette. But she was like, no, seriously, I need to get a palette like that. And then I was like, well, I have a little discount code as well if you want to use that. And she was like, hell yeah. I recorded a bit of footage with her the other day. I did some really crazy eye makeup. I don't know, it's not really crazy, but I just drew like a giant heart like on the side of my eye, and it was kind of crazy. And Chelsea was like, oh, I don't want to be on YouTube. And I was like, oh, it's just for fun, I won't put it on YouTube. Ha ha ha. So I'll insert some of that footage either now or at the end of the video, because Chelsea was experimenting with some of the eyeshadows. It's quite interesting for you guys to actually see what Chelsea did on her eyes, because she's more into neutral eyeshadows and she's not a very big fan of, like, you know, crazy colours and using a lot of bright neon colours. She's more into neutral shades, and what I like about this palette is you have a lot of neutral shades, and you've got neutral mattes and shimmers, which I think is great. Looking at this palette in comparison to their first edition palette, which I don't own, I think that this palette has a lot more, you know, bright colours, whereas the first palette might contain more neutral. That's the kind of impression I'm getting, but I do not own the first generation palette, so bear that in mind. Purely going off pictures here and reviews. Another thing I really like about this palette is it's really, really light, and sometimes it can get really, really annoying when you've got like your favourite makeup palette but you find that they've got a bit of metal in the bottom, you know, to hold it together, or it's just generally been made with heavy material, so the box is like, ah! And then you want to take it somewhere and it's like, ah! But what I really like about this is it's really light. So like I was saying earlier about, you know, if you want to take it somewhere and yada yada, I think this palette would be great to take on holiday with you. Like, I'm considering taking this palette with me to America when I go for like, you know, 2 months, because I don't want to take loads of singular eyeshadows. I'd rather just take a palette, like, because I don't want to, like, you know, take a suitcase full of makeup. I'd rather just take my basics, and I find that this will fit in my suitcase perfectly, and I'll have loads of mattes and shimmers and, like, you know, really, really pretty colours, but I'll have all my neutral colours as well if I don't really want to wear a lot of eyeshadow that day. Because when you're stuck for choice on eyeshadow but you don't want to take too many separate ones, this is like the perfect thing to do. And what I really like is, compared to some of my other palettes, this one's incredibly light. So that's really good. Especially if you're going to America and they weigh your suitcase there and they weigh it back. If you go over your limit, it's kind of like crazy, crazy times, because then you have to pay like something ridiculous like 80 quid, you know, just for the extra kilograms that you've gone over. So that's what's really good about this palette. It's really light, it's really compact, you can take it everywhere, and it's one of those products which I like, you know, I'm really struggling to find anything I dislike about it. So the fact that this won't add weight to my suitcase when I go to America is really awesome. I've used these on my eyes without primer and they do still stay there for like quite a few hours, but then I notice after a few hours they start to, you know, get a little bit weaker in tone and colour and brightness, but any eyeshadow will do that. 80% of the time the eyeshadow needs a primer, so that is in no way a fault on Sedona Lace's eyeshadows. A lot of people actually believe that primers are just a gimmick, but they're really not. They're amazing, and I think they're one of my most important pieces of makeup that I own is my eyeshadow primer. If you want this palette but you don't want to fork out for a primer, then you should definitely try Elf's eyeshadow primer, because that's probably about £1.50 or something like that, and that's really, 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 really good. My personal favourite is Too Faced Shadow Insurance, but I use the Elf one as well on a regular basis too, so when I want to change it up a little bit, even though it doesn't really make a huge difference, I'm just silly, okay? I'm so silly! So, like I've already said, great variety of shimmer and matte colours, yay! Because then I can just dabble in and out of this palette and it's like, yay! So now we're going to move on to like a few things that I dislike about this palette. I think the packaging could be a tiny little bit better, and I don't want people to think I'm being really arsey about this, but this is just my general opinion. One thing that really annoys me about this is like, I don't really like this here, you know how it comes up? It's kind of like, I don't know, when I'm putting this one back, I'll put this one back on top now. Like that. I don't know, it's like I use this, and I'm probably using it wrong to be honest, and then like I'll pick it up here, and then it's like, woo! And to most people, that's perfectly fine. I think it would be better if they had a drawer here. That's just something I could recommend to Sedona Lace. I just think a drawer would be a lot better than this thing, but this is a lot better than some of the palettes I've had which don't even have this little piece of ribbon, and literally you have to dig your nail in and you struggle and you ruin the eyeshadow, so that's still a good feature. I just think that it would personally be better if, you know, you didn't have that. So the only thing that I dislike about this palette is literally I think the packaging could be a little better. I think it would be better with a drawer, but then again it's 50-50, isn't it? It's love and hate, because they have the ribbon and the ribbon is really helpful, whereas with my other palette it's kind of a bit of a pain in the arse because like they don't even have the little ribbon, so I have to dig my finger in and pull it off, whereas with this it's kind of like, yay, there's a ribbon, but at the same time I just think it would be better with a drawer. Personal opinion. Some of the eyeshadows crumble away a little bit easier than the others, but that's the shimmery ones I've found, and that's if you stick your finger in there too much. You've got to remember that because these are so pigmented, you only need to literally touch them with your brush or with your finger. You don't need to do stabbing at it. But I think that was me. That was just me, to be honest. Overall, my thoughts on this palette is 9 out of 10. I have a promo code if you'd like to use it. It's $4 off, which is £2.60 off, and it's Jingleheartart. The overall price of the palette is $28.95, and I went on to Expedia and translated it to pounds, and that's £18.68. So £18.68 for all of these colours is really, really awesome. Jingleheartart, to get a little bit of money off. I'm totally going to go and buy their blush or contour palette because the pigmentation in these is awesome, so I'd love to use some of that stuff on my face. I really hope you enjoyed this review. I'm sorry that I've got a cold and yada yada, but you know, life and germs, we can't all be 100% healthy all the time. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Bye! What did you think of the palette?
Absolutely beautiful. There was definitely too much choice. It was like opening a rainbow box, basically. I don't like choice. There was too much choice. That's
Should we
why.
just get my green hair in the image? You're being interviewed by my hair. So Green Hair is asking, would you purchase the Sedona Lace palette that you've played with?
Definitely. I mean, the choice is amazing.
I love how I'm just holding my hair in this video. Well, I do have a little coupon code that I'm going to insert.
I need that thing in my life.
Marks out of 10 for the Sedona Lace palette you played with. Way!
Oh, yeah.
And Chelsea's always honest, aren't you, Chelsea?
I am. I'm an honest kind of guy. I absolutely love it, honestly. Like, all the colours are proper nice. You get bright ones, glittery ones, normal ones, subtle tones. Just amazeballs.
What do you want to say to YouTube? Say hi.
I love you, YouTube. Please don't hate my face. Also, I'm no good at this video thing, so yeah. Please subscribe to my invisible channel. And yeah, I'm being whacked with some cabbage. So, politics. Oh! Should I have one of those moustaches like that? Ah, yeah. Should I just have a green fringe?
Oh, that looks well good, doesn't it?
Does look cool. Ah, yeah.
You and you.
Oh, I don't like brown hair now. Put the green hair back.
Hi.
Where did Nathaniel come from?
Wow. You're a magician.
YouTube.
Hi. Ooh.